Well, voting is a right, and you have a right to vote, not to vote, and also to waste your vote.
I would love to be a part of the democratic process in terms of voting.
My name is Yvonne.
Molly.
Sandra.
Nelson.
Michelle.
Kennedy Odhiambo, famously known as Crazy Kenna.
It's my first time to vote because I have never really had a very strong incentive to vote the previous times.
I have voted twice, but I'm not voting this time round.
I have voted twice.
I have voted once. Now I'm going to vote for the second time.
This is my first time not to vote.
Well, I'm not voting because I feel like the system is already rigged.
Problem is, do we even have a say? Do we have a say, either if we vote or not? I don't think we have a say.
Politics in this country, they are already predetermined, and there is no reason as to why I should be voting.
Okay, if I didn't vote, I would feel bad that I haven't taken part in the democratic process.
The biggest way you can make your voice heard is by using your vote, is by using your responsibility to this country.
I must exercise my democratic rights, and we are the people who choose the leaders of tomorrow. Before we become the leaders of tomorrow. Why are you not voting?
Why are you voting?
My voice must be heard. Yeah. So actually, if you maybe currently in the country we have issues like high fuel prices, the economy is fluctuating, inflation is there. So I'm voting so that we can regulate such issues.
Assuming now fuel prices, it's not just but based like in Kenya only. Even if you vote, Russia is still fighting, fuel will still be expensive.
We are trying to vote. I personally am trying to vote to see on the government that has the best policies that can help other citizens. My voice must be heard. So if you sit back and relax and then complain, you go on Twitter and say, oh, fuel prices are up, but you're not voting. How can you be helped? But it's like you personally want to sit on the fence. I said it. That's the reason why I did not vote. Kind of people who are, I won't wake up, you see.
If I didn't vote, I would feel bad that I haven't taken part in the democratic process.
The system is flawed, and I do not have any confidence in our electoral body. I'm not voting. Not planning to, and I won't. Yeah, been there, done that, but I won't vote.
I am voting, and I'd like to encourage you to also vote at the end of this talk.
Why should I?
One, it's because that's your civic duty. And voting gives you a voice. So you're not voting, automatically you're throwing away your voice. So your decision making, you won't be heard just because ulikosa kuvote. Yeah.
But I'd like to correct you, Kiasia. Voting is not a duty. I'm not obliged to vote. Voting is a right. I have the right to vote, not to vote, and to waste my vote. So, and to abstain, you know? And in this case, I choose to abstain. I don't want to vote simply because of the systems that have been put in place, honestly.
We tend to trust on what the politicians are saying. We are not well educated on the political scene. So we tend to follow what our politicians are saying, they make the decisions for us. So the masses follow them instead of following their own instincts, their own knowledge on that. Is it your first time?
Yes, it will be my first time to vote.
I've voted previously.
Yes.
The past 2 general elections. Voted twice in the previous one, even after the runoff. So I think I have heavier points on why not. One of them is the fact that I don't have a preferential candidate in mind for whichever position in the electorate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot. I want to understand more why you think you do not have any candidate currently who even resonates slightly with your values and what you think a leader in that position should offer.
As Kenyans, we are illiterate on topics to do with sociology, economics, and politics. We tend to depend on our politicians we vote in to make those decisions for us, trusting them fully. So sometimes you'll find that they're selling us policies that don't really support what we want.
Okay. The only other 2 times I had the opportunity to vote, I probably had other things to do, or I actually did not have any other thing to do. So I would say that it's partly because of ignorance, it's partly laziness, but it's also mostly because most of us, especially our age group, have grown up with parents who are actually active voters. And the problem with seeing our parents wake up early or, go and line up to vote, but at the same time come home and complain about poor governance and poor structures in our government to, implement the issues or the policies that they had promised our voters. Part of that made me realize that it doesn't really matter whether I vote or not, because my vote will not translate into a working economy or a working government. So that was mostly the reason why I never voted before, but I've changed my mind.
My view about politics, I'd say it's a complete mess, because look at the times we're living in, look at the economy, look at the kawaida person, the lifestyles, everything. It's so hard for everyone at the moment. Yeah. The person you voted for, let's say, what if they switch? They don't help you eventually. Still pointless of voting.
No, let us start voting from your MCA. If you vote the right, if you wake up and vote the right MCA, you'll start seeing good roads in your.
But the good roads are happening now when they are campaigning now. Like the whole 5 years, no progress. Then now is when you want me to vote again is when you are pointless.
Since
say in my estate, honestly saying, it's when you're seeing change now when you kitaka kuvotiwa tena. Pointless. Me, I'm telling you facts of things I'm seeing core ground.
But what is bringing that change?
The vote.
Then go and vote.
No.
My opinion about politics is I'm neutral. I don't support either of the contenders in the political space currently, because I feel like it's just about electing who is a lesser thief or the lesser corrupt person than the other. So honestly, for me, I abstain. I voted before. Not that the results were not in my favor per se, but only because I believe that the system is skewed and the system is corrupt. I honestly at this point sina reason ya kitu itaniamsha asubuhi hiyo siku kwenda kuvote. I feel like it's already predetermined. That's why I just choose to abstain from this.
So one, I hear you. But I'd like to ask you, don't you think it's a predisposition that you already have that the system is rigged?
I mean, it is. Look at it this way, right? The IEBC is the referee in these elections, right?
Yeah.
The referee should provide a fair and free playground, I would call it, for all contenders in this election. However, they're also allowing people who have questionable character to vie, and again, they're still shooting down requests for other leaders to vie. Whereas the Constitution states that you should not be allowed to vie for an elective position if you have such questionable character. I mean, make it make sense.
Okay. So I think what you're trying to say is the merit that they agree people to vie or not to vie. And if you saying that a governor has been deterred from vying because they have not met what is required of them, shows that they are working to show that there are people who will vie according to the merit, and the merit that has been set in place is already working. That's why this person has been barred out. And for someone who is vying and has questionable character, I believe it has not been proven yet. And besides that, there are other people who are also vying besides the people that you think have questionable character. Why not give these people a chance then, without looking at the specific person who has a questionable character? I believe you have a variety of people to choose from. So if this one you tick X, there are other people that you can tick.
You see, the problem with me is not even who I'm going to elect and who I'm not going to elect. The problem starts at the top, the referee.
I have so many regrets because the current regime has let us down. There is no one who's made it clear for me or who has addressed the issues that I'd want to be addressed.
Okay.
It will take a while for someone to convince me, you know, because one, most of them, what they're selling are solutions to problems that they themselves created.
All right, Wallace. I think I get part of what you're saying. I agree with you for the most part in that. I also want to believe that voter apathy in Kenya is not a new thing, but many young people believe that voter apathy is a protest when really it's a surrender to whatever's going to happen. I would say that because I'd like to think of myself as a very solution-oriented person, meaning that if I notice there's a problem with our leadership, I want to be part of the solution by electing people. I have that right and I also have that responsibility. I will vote because I believe as much as there's a lot to be done in as far as our leadership goes, we have that chance as a youth.
Politics is a game of, I refer to it, the same script but different casts.
Me nikivote, I'll just spoil the vote, honestly. I'll just spoil it, honestly. Na tick zote, ati huyu ndio staki niweka X.
Sasa wewe unavotia mwenye unataka badala ya uvotie mwenye unataka.
So nakwambia just inaenda ku spoil.
Lakini let me ask you, hauoni the importance? Unaona, let me say, for example, if your voice, you can convince maybe, let's say, up to 10 people you believe in, you or your friends, and your friends convince your friends, and we say that enough is enough, because I know that yes, we can have a government, but the voice of the people is much greater than the government. You are the people who don't believe in the voice of the people, because you know a government takes advantage in the people who don't believe in their voices. So kiwa na watu kama nyinyi, let's say about 5 million, the government can do anything because they believe these people won't stand out and speak out.
I'm telling you, they're just predetermined, they're corrupt.
But how do you end corruption? Vote out the corrupt people and vote in the people you believe are not corrupt.
No, everyone is corrupt. We can't just blame politicians.
I feel like it's up to each citizen to decide what they want to do with their vote. But by and large, they're honestly wasting their vote, because I strongly believe that it's already predetermined.
So where else do you think you can be heard if you don't get to decide your leaders? Where else do you think you will ever be heard if you don't vote this time round?
First, do you think that by voting, you're being heard?
Yes, I do. I do.
As I say, and as I still insist, there is an aspect of being heard, and there is also the aspect of a decision has already been made.
Predisposition?
Come on.
I just want to ask you one question. You've said there's very limited information around, Kenyans don't study about sociology and politics.
We even don't know what the people that we are voting in, what they're supposed to do.
Do you think that is your personal responsibility to find out that? Do you think you have a personal initiative in that to actually get rid of your ignorance?
It's personal, but also the electoral body is supposed to carry out that civic education system, right?
Yes.
It's supposed to run it, but it doesn't do that.
Are you sure they don't do it?
They actually don't.
Because
you can do a survey and ask how many people. What does an MCA? What is an MCA supposed to do in his position? They don't know.
Okay.
Another thing, a position that is not even known by most people is the senator.
Yeah.
That one, people don't know what they do.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
So you can't vote in someone when you don't know what they're going to do over there. So once, if IEBC had carried out the civic education, it would have been better.
Okay. Okay.
And also, if these studies were included in our curriculum, then it would have been better. We'd have been voting according to what we see, according to the policies that this person is selling, not according to what other people or what the masses are doing or what the masses are saying. You see? Because even if you listen to their campaigns, it's usually insults and nothing more about there's nothing tangible actually, you see?
Yeah.
So yeah.
You can ask me a question.
Why wake up and suffer and go vote for those evil people?
Because it's a democratic right. Your right to vote.
But I won't be killed I won't be jailed if I don't vote.
Not voting has a ripple effect. If you fail to vote now,
Voting has a ripple effect.
voting has a positive.
You're voting in the wrong people. Either way.
I think we should end this talk because I've already convinced her.
No.
She's going to
That's
vote.
a lie.
She says she's going to vote for the
That's a
MCA,
lie.
the MP.
We just sleep. We
apart
just
from
sleep.
the presidential candidate.
That August 8th is a public holiday of rest.
We wake up 4 in the in fact 2 a.m.
Kuna.
My opinion on politics, I would love to be a part of the democratic process.
Sandy, okay. Maybe you belong to the school of thought that you believe you will make change and all that. No.
Do you believe we are doomed?
We are doomed if we don't. We are doomed if we do. I mean, this country, to be honest, it's only operated, as we call them, the dynasties or something, you know? They are decision makers. That's why tunasema kuna wenye nchi na wananchi. Wewe ni mwananchi, but kuna wenye nchi. They sit down in boardrooms, they allocate these things, they say this and this is the agenda we are driving, this is how we are going to make it. Let me ask you, why do you think we still have the same political elite families that are still dominating in our political arena?
Because of the voting process. We give them that chance through election. What if we don't vote them in? You have that chance this time. Vote them out.
Whether you vote or not, they will still decide. I mean, they fund these things.
I would not say that I have a strong affiliation to the politics in Kenya. So do you think in the presence of better civic education, do you think you'd be in a position to vote?
Trust me, I would.
So then it's a responsibility for the Electoral Commission to, make it more robust.
Once they do their part, then maybe, actually, generally, we'll be in a better position to know what we are voting for and who are we voting for.
Okay, I get your point, and everybody is entitled to their own ideas, but I would also like to encourage you, leave you with this thought that your apathy towards the elections this year will not be a solution to anything, and it will not be a protest to anything. If anything, you're allowing yourself to surrender to whatever politics that are happening in the country right now. So maybe something to do would be to go read.
I'd rather that
You'd rather surrender?
Than feel like I've wasted my time going to vote, and then probably my candidate won't have garnered any enough votes for.
But it's a start though. It's a start though. You made your voice heard.
It will take some time for me to get convinced, but I'll see.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much were you convinced or not convinced?
Koshua, an 11.
Nah, I was not convinced.
Were you convinced?
I'm not yet convinced,
Yeah.
but my reasons were genuine.
Did I do a good job at?
You did?
Yes, at giving you an alternative perspective.
Yes, you did.
I believe his points were valid, but he did not convince me.
She put up a good fight. Her points were valid as well. Really strong points. However, it's Kenya at the end of the day, and it would have been nice if at all we toed the line, and her perception about the electioneering period and the system, it's all up in her head, to be honest. Sio situation yenye iko kwa ground. So I still maintain my stand about not voting. Doesn't count, doesn't make sense.
So I was not looking to be convinced out of voting, so I'm still going to vote.
What about you?
I believe he's hopeless politically.
Why was it? Why weren't you convinced?
I still see no point.
I believe I still hold on to some hope. Yes, I know how the system has been, but I still believe in giving it a chance one more time. Yeah. And I was trying to do that to my brother, but clearly
One more time then.
hopeless.
Usivote tena.
No.
Come on.
Just this time,
No.
one step at a time.
She is one of the people who has accepted the narrative that
Accepted the truth. It's not a narrative.
No.
It's the living truth.
I'm telling you, in politics, people create a narrative and they sell it out. She had one main point that the elections are predetermined. That's the narrative politicians who lose always sell. So she has been convinced by politicians not to vote politicians.
That's politics for you.
I'd still want to encourage Wallace and all other youths in Kenya, if you're in a capacity to vote, please consider voting. It's high time for us as the young people in Kenya to be part of the solutions to the problems that are ailing our country.